language use is very important for much of the writing in Key Stage 2. It's definitely important for the writing for 11 plus essays, be it for grammar or independent school exams. It's obviously important at Key Stage 3 secondary level, and it's even more important when you get to GCSE English Literature and GCSE English Language exam preparation. Hi Geekers, so we are now on day 3 of our Christmas writing challenge, which is part of our Vlogmas, the very first Vlogmas that Geek School Tutoring has ever been involved in. And today, on day 3 of our Christmas writing challenge, as I promised you yesterday, we are going to talk about language use. But before I get into that, I'd like to introduce myself to any new geekers here. My name's JOYCELLYN Akufo. I'm the Managing Director of Geek School Tutoring, and here is a brief introduction to you about what Geek School Tutoring is all about. Hi there, I'm JOYCELLYN Akufo. I'm the Managing Director of Geek School Tutoring. So we provide face-to-face tuition at our Beckenham and Catford Centre, and we also provide online tuition for small groups and also one-to-one tuition online. So if you're looking for 11 plus tuition, we cover everything: maths, English, verbal reasoning, non-verbal reasoning, and creative writing. And as if that's not enough, we have a whole range of DIY video-based courses covering everything from our renowned creative writing crash course, our express writing course, and our independent school interview course, and much more. Check out the website. We have new courses coming up every time. So head over to www.geekscore.co.uk to find out more about how we can help your child ace their 11 plus exams and get into their school of choice. Bye. Okay, so language use. What exactly do I mean by language use when it comes to writing? Well, to be honest, it's what it says on the tin. It's as clear as that, the type of words that we use when we are writing. Now, language use is very important for much of the writing in Key Stage 2. It's definitely important for the writing for 11 plus essays, be it for grammar or independent school exams. It's obviously important at Key Stage 3 secondary level, and it's even more important when you get to GCSE English Literature and GCSE English Language exam preparation. So as you can see, from primary all the way through to GCSE and beyond, but I mean, are we just going to go all the way up to PhD level? We'll get there eventually, but basically from now all the way through your academic career, language use is very important. Okay, so I challenge you to go and pick up a couple of your favorite books at home after watching this video and just read through just random sentences, random paragraphs in that book. Now, as a journalist, I can tell you that there isn't a word that goes on paper without a reason. So I'm imagining that when writers and poets as well put words on paper, they all have an intention. They all have a purpose. There's a very real reason why we select particular words to describe a character, to describe a sequence of events, to describe the senses, the emotion, and so on. Every single word that we pick and choose to use in that piece of writing is done intentionally. Now, when we get to the writing of young people, sometimes the words are not necessarily chosen with intent. Some get into the repetitive mode of using the same words over and over and over again in the same piece of writing. And this is something that needs to be addressed as quickly as possible. We need to give CPR to the writing of any child that is repetitive. Okay, let's talk about what repetitive use of words does. Well, for one thing, it's a boring read. It's so boring that words cannot describe in enough detail just how boring that piece of writing will become. And often it's not because children don't have any other words in their bank of vocabulary. They do. But like with a lot of things, sometimes we can get into really bad habits, get very relaxed, and just drill out the same thing over and over again without much thought. But from today, I know that is definitely going to change, because the words that we use in such a short piece of writing, like what we have in the Christmas challenge, 12 Days at Christmas workbook, Christmas writing challenge, that you're all on this wonderful journey with me on, you know that it's really important to choose your words rightly. They have to fit into the right context. Now, if we're writing about something to do with Christmas, let those words be relevant to what is being asked and avoid that repetition. So another area that we need to look at is words that are redundant. They don't actually add any detail or description, they're just there. And one that I like to use as an example is the word nice. Now, imagine if you have been asking your parents for the latest technologically expensive gadget. Of course, Christmas is coming up. Parents like myself, well, thankfully, actually, my children do not do this, and I'm ever so thankful for that. But for you parents out there who have been hammered all year about the PS5, or is it the PS6? I don't even keep up with this type of thing. Speak to me about Apple products and I'm with you all the way, okay? And when it finally arrives, and just imagine on Christmas morning, 25th of December, excuse me, oh, sorry, it's time to water my throat. I do not want to be coughing through this video. And by the way, I am very well. Please do not panic. I don't have that C word or anything else. But so we go back. You finally got the gadget you've been harassing your parents and bombarding your parents with, bombarding your grandparents, your uncles, aunties, godparents, anyone who will give you the time of day or pretend to listen. And then it finally comes to Christmas Day morning with that rush of adrenaline. You head straight to the Christmas tree, rip apart that big box that looks just like what you've been asking for. Would you describe receiving it as nice? So when you go back to school in January and your friends say, oh, I got this, I got that. What did you get for Christmas? Oh, I got PS5. It was so nice. Huh? Nice. Do you know how expensive that thing is? And not to mention that you spent weeks, months, some of you the entire year asking for this gadget, and then when it finally arrives in your hands, you know, you describe it as nice. Oh, wow. Can you see how nice doesn't really give any detail at all? Amazing is more descriptive, okay? You know, my heart was overcome with emotion as I ripped apart the Christmas wrapping from the box that looked about the size of the PS5 that I've been waiting for months for. And when I opened it, the excitement was just too much to bear. I was overjoyed. Overjoyed tells me a lot more than nice. Nice just doesn't do it. Imagine on your birthday, okay, and despite everything that's going on, your parents agree for you to have a birthday party. Now, you have put in so much detail into the birthday cake, okay, triple layered. Guys, you know I always give a food example. I know some of you are laughing, but this is just the way it goes on the Geek School YouTube channel. Anyway, triple layered, okay? One layer of red velvet, one layer of your favorite Victoria sponge, another layer of, do you know, for my birthday in November, somebody made the most delectable cake that I've had in a very, very long time. And it was this hazelnut flavored, different layers of flavor, but it had this hazelnut layer in there. Oh, goodness, literally, I felt like I was floating in air as I dived into the cake. But anyway, so just this multi-layer of all your favorite cake flavors. And all you can say is that it's nice. What? What does that even mean? Okay, give me something more. It was sumptuous. Okay, that tells me so much more. The cake was really rich in flavor. It was soft and buttery. Okay, maybe we don't want buttery, but you know, it's just so soft, it melts on your tongue, glides down the back of your throat with ease without even a need for any cream or custard. Oh, that tells me, it tells the reader, it tells the marker a lot more about what you are describing. So when you use words, especially adverbs and adjectives, which go into a lot more detail about what you are writing, and we'll be looking at adverbs and adjectives in 2 days' time. So hold on to that thought. When you use those words, it has to have a purpose. What image do you want the reader to convey in their mind? What idea, what senses do you want to ignite for the reader? What picture do you want the reader to have in their mind's eye as they're reading through your writing? This is why language use is important. And on that note, I want to talk about figurative language, okay? What is figurative language? It's a term that basically describes the way we describe things, okay? And we use a number of techniques to do that. We use metaphors, simile, alliteration, onomatopoeia, personification, and you know, those types of devices, as they're called, okay? Literary devices. Okay. A few years back, I had a student who joined us really late. He was preparing for one of the top grammar schools in the country called St Olave's, and he was basically introduced to myself to help him get through you know, the stage 2. So St Olave's is based within Bromley Borough. It's actually a school in Orpington, and it's one of the top grammar schools in the country. They have 2 parts to their exam at the time of recording, just in case that changes. And you know, the first part is generally multiple choice. Second part is a written paper, as a lot of grammar schools with 2 stages tend to do. And he was an absolute whiz at maths, but the English writing needed a lot of what I call CPR. We needed to breathe life into that writing. He goes to the school now, so it obviously worked, okay? But one thing that I noticed with the first piece of writing that he handed in was that his use of metaphors and similes was so robotic that it clearly looked like he had been tutored by somebody else before he arrived at Geek School, and tutored incorrectly, okay? When you speak as a human, that we all are, we don't speak in similes and metaphors every other sentence. It's just not what we do. If you ever meet somebody like that, it's very unusual. We generally don't speak like that. You know, we use all sorts of phrases and just simple sentences, some complex and so on, but we don't speak in similes and metaphors. So if you have been told to write lots of similes and metaphors and other literary devices, it doesn't mean that you have to use them in every single sentence, guys. If you do that, it will be very obvious to the marker that it's not your natural way of writing, i.e. you have been badly tutored. And you know, they want children who present themselves as being naturally able, naturally bright, not having been prepared so terribly for an exam. 1 or 2 similes or metaphors is enough, because all you're basically trying to do, we're blurred again. Oh, what's going on with this camera? There we go. All you're basically trying to do is to show the examiner that you have an understanding of these literary devices, number 1, and that secondly, you know how to comfortably and confidently and correctly use them. Okay, it's not about writing lots and lots of that. And on another similar note, when you are writing a story or any other piece of writing that is not a play, you don't need to litter it with lots and lots of speech, because again, you only need to show the examiner with 1 or 2 examples in your writing that you know how to punctuate speech and use it correctly. Now, if you have like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces of speech in your writing for today's writing task, for the Christmas writing challenge, go back to it and change all of them for descriptive sentences. Describe what's going on, okay? Describe how the character feels. That's what you're expected to do, not write in riddles and codes, okay? With speeches and lots of similes and metaphors. Apart from the fact that it's so boring to read, it just doesn't flow nicely. It's not usually very coherent. And those devices overused and the speech overused doesn't help your reader to build a picture in their mind's eye about what they're writing. All it does is just say, okay, this person, this child struggles to describe what's happening in a story or describe what's going on in a descriptive piece, a recount, and so on. And you will definitely be marked down. Like if I'm marking a paper like that, I will mark it down as much as possible. Not because I'm some sort of, I'm not going to call myself an evil witch. Not because I want to be mean to children, but because I want to stamp it out, because it's dangerous to do that in your writing, okay? Very, very dangerous. So that's it for today. We will continue tomorrow. And tomorrow is going to be even more fun because we will be looking at story starters, one of my favorite topics. See you then. Bye.
Collins, I be